Good morning, Metaverse. I'm Thor with the OCG Guild, and I'm going to be talking about AAVE and how decentralized financing can be utilized in a business model. This is AAVE, aave.com. This is the entry point. We're going to enter into the app and take a look at all the different aspects of AAVE and how to use it. So AAVE, it shows here, has a liquidity of $26 billion, over $26 billion. That's how much value is locked in that protocol, is being lent at any given time. So we go into the protocol from the website, and we'll go to the marketplace first. There are 4 different markets. There's the AAVE V2, the original AAVE market, the market that's run through the Polygon, and then one that's run with Avalanche. This is the main Ethereum market. It has $14 billion of liquidity in here. It's the largest one. And then Polygon and Avalanche are layer 2 protocols which help reduce the transaction fees. But for right now, we're just going to go through AAVE V2. These are the different currencies, cryptocurrencies that you can get access to through the AAVE network that you can borrow and lend. And then they have their various borrowing interest rates and lending interest rates. And then they also show the total amount of the market size and then how much of that has been borrowed. And then they also show variable and stable rates. So we'll dive into both of those in a moment. So the way decentralized financing works is that you would deposit your funds into this protocol from your wallet. This is on the Ethereum network, so it's connected to the MetaMask wallet. You would deposit your funds into AAVE, and for example, I did that with Ethereum. And when I deposit it in, there's a couple aspects that you want to know about each of the currencies. This is the amount that's being utilized, how much is deposited versus how much has been borrowed. This is the total available liquidity, okay? Your maximum loan to value. This is important because it'll tell you how much, compared to what you have lent to AAVE, how much you can borrow out. So if I've lent in Ethereum, then it says I can borrow up to 82% of that value. And then it will trigger through a smart contract a liquidation of those funds if the value of my Ethereum drops and the amount that I've borrowed in comparison to Ethereum is greater than 85%. It then liquidates that and pays off that loan, and then you get another 5% liquidation fee, and that goes to the AAVE protocol. The goal is to not have your funds be liquidated, so you want to stay below that threshold with your loan to value. Up top here, it shows you the health factor for your funds deposited. So I'm going to go to my dashboard, and my dashboard shows me what I actually have in and tied to my MetaMask wallet. So I've deposited 7 ETH into AAVE, which gives me the ability to borrow, and I have borrowed out $13,796 US, which is a 51.75% loan to value, giving me a pretty good health factor of 1.64. If that health factor drops below 1, that is where it triggers that liquidation. Also, for Ethereum, because I only have one currency involved, I know that that's at 85%. If you've lended more, Ethereum and wrap Bitcoin or a Decentraland, some other currency, it'll all factor in on this screen and give you a health factor so you can maintain a solid health factor and keep from having your funds liquidated. Now, I chose to borrow USDC, and so in order to borrow, you would go to the borrow tab and then pick your currency of choice. So I pick USDC. It has a much higher utilization rate, but at 88%, okay? And then there are 2 interest rates that it offers. There's the stable borrow APY and the variable borrow APY. Stable, whenever you borrow it, it locks in this interest rate, 11.59% currently. And so as long as I have it borrowed, that's what the interest rate would be. I have the variable rate at 4.01, which will change with time. If it could go higher, it could go lower. I look at the history over the last 2 months, and you'll see that it really stays between 3 and 4% for this time period. And so I decided to use the variable rate, and that is represented here in my borrow section at the 4.01%. Okay. So that allows me to maintain full exposure to my Ethereum while at the same time borrowing and using somebody else's money to do whatever I want with it from my MetaMask. I can invest it or purchase other currencies with it. I can engage in yield farming or liquidity pools. I can purchase NFTs with it. And the whole time I am paying a 4.01% interest rate on it, roughly. And then I would have to be able to make more money than that for it to be a positive cash flow. So in my yield financing or in a liquidity token, I'd be looking for something over the 4% interest rate, which currently is actually very easy to do. So that's how I use it. And then also on Aave, they have a swap option, so you can quickly transfer from one type of asset to another, which is convenient. And then as an added layer of protection, Aave not only requires under collateralized loans, so that the people borrowing have to lend into the protocol more than they borrow out. That's one layer of security. They have a very large liquidity, 26 billion, 14 billion in this specific market. So that's another layer of security. And then a third layer of security is a safety module fund. And this is a fund that people have invested into and bought the safety module token. And if any of those lending protocols were to lose liquidity, then it would automatically trigger a 30% liquidation of these safety module funds to regain that liquidity. And for doing that, you're given a 16.4% interest rate for staking that safety module liquidity token. And then if you stake your Aave, you'll get a 6.85%. Now these rates are variable, so they can change with time. In the recent past, the interest rate for the staking Aave and the safety module have been pretty much where they are right now at 6.85 and 16.4. Now, if you've staked your Aave, you can participate in the governance. Now, this is decentralized finance, so there is no single entity that controls what happens on the protocol. Nobody can stop you from pulling out your funds. Nobody can stop you from lending those funds. It gives you a lot more autonomy with your cryptocurrency. But the way that you make changes is that someone in the Aave community would present a proposal, a proposed change to the current Aave protocol, and then everybody with Aave stake would vote. Now, you can also delegate your Aave if you want somebody else to pay attention to what's going on with the governments. You can delegate your Aave to somebody else, so that you maintain some type of influence over what's happening to the protocol and gives you influence to the wealth that you have stored there. All of this happens very quickly and allows you to borrow and lend without all the red tape and paperwork of a traditional centralized banking setup where you have to submit your 2 years of tax forms and all of your income statements, how much debt you have, what other assets you owned, all of the things that become very intrusive, and that keeps it from having to do that. And I can borrow. Let's go here. I will go to borrow and I can go down to USDC. I have $8,000 worth of USDC that I can still borrow out of my total amount of collateral of Ethereum that I have in collateral. And so I can put in, I want to pull out, say, $2,000. That's going to take my health factor to 1.45. I can continue. I can choose my rate, stable or variable. I'll choose variable. And then I can borrow it. Now, this down here shows me the estimated transaction fees. And so it's pretty small, but it says USD. So we're looking at roughly 100 way. And so I can take a look at this, and this is going to be $187 to do this transaction. Now, it's not going to make sense for me to do this transaction, but if you're doing large amounts, say I wanted to pull out $20,000, then I would go through the V2 network, pull out a larger sum or $100,000 or a larger sum like that, and your transaction fees end up being a very small percentage. If you're doing small transactions, it would be much better to go on to the Avalanche or the Polygon layer 2 market than go to the borrow, select your coin. I don't have any funds deposited in this, but then you would be able to borrow through that and have lower transaction fees. I hope this helps understand Aave a little little bit better, the different parts of going through the protocol, and to familiarize yourself, practice it, try deposit funds and play around with it a little bit and make sure that you understand how to use it before you really start using it for larger sums of money. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't worry about liking or subscribing, but if you know somebody who would find this information useful and would take action and implement it, then please share it with them. I'd love to see the real action takers benefit from this incredible combination of cryptocurrency, play to earn gaming, and business financing. If you can do that, then today was a good day.